Hi everyone, this is Alain Vachon. I'm super happy to talk about leadership and balance and management and giving you maybe some awareness around how sometimes it might be useful for you, for your well-being, to be able to maybe remove your superhero cape sometimes as a manager and as a leader so you can maybe take it down a notch on pressure that you give yourself or that you get from others around you. And we're just going to jump into this webinar. We're holding it because I think it's time for everyone to regain balance between management and leadership. And I think we've glamorized a lot of the leadership portion of the work we have to do. We've actually demonized also the management part of the work that every leader has to do in their day-to-day. And I think it's important to sort of balance this out. And I'm actually going to challenge you in thinking of it in maybe a different way and maybe giving as much importance to management as to leadership. So things can move along as we go. In our work, in our professional evolution and growth, in knowing that good management is the basis to good leadership and not the other way around. And we'll talk about that today. And also, we want to reduce the pressure on manager leaders to be able to um, not be perfect all the time. I think it's okay that you're a human being first. And being a human being first means that also that you won't be perfect every time and that or all the time, which is very important to know that if it's okay for employees to have an off day, it's also okay for you to have an off day. But of course, you're going to want to make sure that when people are engaged in working with you as a leader, as a manager, the impact that you have as a human being will transpire in your role and not always having to be perfect and not always having to have your cape on. We're also going to move towards um, can we have a more pragmatic perspective on management and leadership to ensure the success of every single manager leader in your organization? And as you move towards creating a bit more balance between those two roles, you'll also be able to keep everyone solidly ground into the day-to-day is as important as change management. So as we move along today, we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule when it comes to the 5 key areas of management leadership. Where does all the pressure that we have as manager leaders come from? Change management, the real work of leaders. We're going to talk about the 3 steps. And what about me? How about me in all this? Can I be considered in this equation so I can also have work-life balance? I can also have well-being. I can also work on the things that I have to do every day as a manager leader to be able to have, my list of things to do as well, not just make sure everyone else's list of things to do is done. I think there's a balance to be created there, and what to do moving forward to not only use that awareness to create this balance, but also sensitize people around you that, you know what, I'm going to hang up my cape, my leadership cape behind my door, and I'm just going to use it when needed. And the rest of the time, I'm going to be present as a solid manager to ensure the success of, employees, the team, the department, myself, and that change management initiatives move forward. So I'm sort of throwing this at you, saying in a sense that I'm going to challenge you in how about we recreate a new paradigm when it comes to management and leadership, and those aren't opposites to one another. It's not one is better than the other. They need to be hand in hand so we can do the work we have to do on our day to day, but also in the role that we have within the organization. So as we look at the 80-20 rule, let's look at the 5 key areas of management leadership. And those 5 key areas are broken down, and I'll show you a document that I'm actually going to put it in a chat right now so everyone can see it. This document is in both official languages, so you'll be able to use it as well with your team if needed. Let me just go find it here so we can make sure that everyone has it. Here it is. There it is. I just found it. Just going to dump it into the chat for everyone to see. And I'm going to reference it during our setting. And don't forget, you need to click twice so you can see it and open it and download it and print it and so on. So when we work with clients across all sorts of organizations, whether it's a nonprofit, a tiny one, a mid-sized one, a department in government, or a large institution, we're going to talk about the 5 key areas where every manager leader needs to be active. And the 5 first ones, I think, are mostly management work. Bring out the best in people. The second one is bring out the best in your team and also bring out the best in your department or organization. Be a model of well-being and productivity, and then lead change with emotional intelligence, the real work of leaders. And the reason I'm putting it red here is so we can really differentiate the work. So when we work with clients and breaking down the time they spend in their day as manager leaders, we actually realize that it's between 70 and 80% of their time is spent on management tasks, roles, and responsibilities. And only 20-25% of their time is actually in change management. But that is if most key management areas are going well. If there are fires in every single department and things aren't going well, you feel you need to be changing everything all the time. So that's where you're just going to drain everyone's battery because there's no focus on ensuring that your vehicle, the machine, the business, the organization is going well. So let's break it down together if that's okay. So when we talk about the 5 management leadership pillars or fields or where you need to put some energy, the first one is bringing the best out of people, cultivating empowerment and individual success in employees, taking a time to spend some time with them, get to know them, differentiate your approach, coach them, supervise employees that are underperforming, evaluate staff based on their performance and behaviors, link the employee's contribution to the department's or the organization's success. And it's the work we do to bring individuals to succeed in their role. And our estimate is that, let's say it's 20% of your time. Well, if it's 20% of your time in 1 week's work, well, that's 1 full day. And I'm being very pragmatic here because at one point we're going to have to break down the time and the tasks that we have in our daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly responsibilities that absolutely need to get done so we can make sure that in our role as a manager and as a leader, we've done everything that's expected from us. The second one is the second 20% is bringing the best out of your team, ensuring a high-level collaboration with individuals on your team, ensure clarity on expectations and results, behaviors, on what clients really want from the organization, moving towards a strategic vision. Everything's clear. We systematically communicate, repeat key messages. We're working on making sure the team is aligned. We also implement efficient and effective operational procedures, standards. We know the signature approach to the organization is clear for everyone, so the team is always aligned on what's expected, and we also make sure that we have engaging meetings in our department, in our team. So this is the other part of working on individual success in the team should bring you to have a team that is stronger. Individuals contribute to the team's success. Every single team contributes to the department's success, which means, there's clear objectives and targets. We monitor them, high-level satisfaction amongst clients and employees and other stakeholders. We listen and understand the needs of clients. We use data to make decisions. We evaluate the performance of everything we do, and we communicate to mobilize and engage other stakeholders to understand, promote, and commit to our mandate and mission. So everyone's actually, as a stakeholder, contributing to mission, vision, values. So we're making sure that we are informed, but we also make sure that stakeholder community is engaged, so the organization is succeeding and we're cultivating continuous improvement. So as you can see, I'm talking about 20 here, 20 there, 20 in making sure the department is going well. And the fourth one is, how about you in all of this? I give my best as well. So I bring the best out of individuals, bring the best out of my team. I'm getting the best out of my department, but I'm also giving my best when I can. So here we're talking about being able to be a model of collaboration and productivity, not only for my colleagues on the management team, but and other leaders and managers that are around my my big cheese table where everyone is making sure that every department's going well. I'm a model of collaboration for them, but I'm also a model of collaboration for my employees. And we've seen that systematically in organization where there's dysfunction on the management team, but they're expecting individual teams to be very cohesive and work together. And I think we need to work on our perspective of, am I a model for collaboration and productivity? So I'm doing my own work and the tasks that I am ultimately responsible for. I'm not delegating the things that I should be doing. I collaborate with my colleagues. I develop my skills. I act in a positive impact in my environment. I'm disciplined about taking care of my physical health, my mental health, and I exemplify the values of the organization. And I think we expect that from ourselves. And when we can be a model, we are actually creating alignment with what's expected is also what I do. So when I look at these 5 pillars, I am thinking, okay, so these 4 first ones should be taking 80% of my time. And it is. The issue right now is the effectiveness and of the impact of these is bringing people to do 45, 50, 55, 60 hours a week to get this 80% done. And that's why the change management initiatives are always lagging in performance. And we're talking, and that's what research is saying, between 22 and 27% of change management initiatives fall apart and don't go to fruition because management is just, our management responsibilities are taking 80% of our time, and that 80% is actually over the allotted time we should be working. So how do we create a bit more balance here is saying that if I split my week in 5 specific days, and I know I'm being very pragmatic, but I'm trying to break it down in numbers, saying I'm going to spend 10% of my time on each one of 20% of my time on each one of these pillars. And when it comes to leading change with emotional intelligence, creating a clear and engaging vision for change, rigorous planning, present the vision to stakeholders and to employees, listen and consider how it affects people, bringing it to fruition should be that other 20%. And this is the superhero part. This is saying, in these 5 pillars of management leadership, people are expecting me to do these 5 first things first. Because the main thing in our role is bringing the best out of people, the team, the department, and also being productive. So when we break it down, we're thinking, okay, 80-20 rule makes sense in numbers. So why are we losing focus on leadership initiatives and being criticized for it? And also not always being intentional when it comes to management. Well, first thing is we need to stop demonizing management. Management is a key component to our work, and I think it really takes between 70 and 80% of our time. Leading change is affected by the energy we have left to do the leadership part. So when we're leading change, we're doing the leadership part. That's when we need for you to be the superhero to clarify where we're going, create alignment, and then be present for execution, not just disappear. So let's move on this one. And let's think about where is the pressure coming from as a manager leader? And most pressure comes from four different sources. And I'm going to just skip ahead here to this diagram here and this management leadership expectations diagram. And I'm going to share that with you in the follow-up email, is that there's pressure from four specific sides when it comes to management and leadership. And the first one comes from what leaders or officers and board members are expecting from the executive director and the management team. So let me go back because I really broke it down here so we can use it. Let me go back here. And so officers and board members expect you to contribute and lead the effective implementation of the mission of the organization. And that the mission is usually what you do. It's broken down into services and programs and activities and products, and delivering on your promise, which is your mission, is taking, I would say, almost 70% of your time, if not 50 to 70. It's certainly making sure that everyone's contributing to the effective and efficient implementation of the mission. The second one is contribute to the achievement of the vision that was set into the strategic framework. And we've been working with clients for 15 years and really seeing that there's a reason why it's mission, vision, values, and not vision, mission, values, or values, mission, vision. It's mission first, vision next, and values to support it. Mission is what you do every day. It's your main vehicle. Vision is your destination, where you're going. And it needs to be aligned, and one supports the other, but not the other way around. So if we have an effective implementation of the mission, which is what usually people engage in when they come for a job or they do volunteering, they want to support that mission. And ideally, they'll have time to contribute to the achievement of the vision, but mission is always first. So officers and board members are expecting you to uphold the organizational values, to mobilize and engage staff, act responsibly, and meet objectives that are set into either the accountability framework or the scorecard that's being used to monitor performance of the organization. And that's a pretty big pressure, especially if you're the executive director or close to the executive director's seat, or if you participate in board meetings systematically, either monthly or quarterly, you're going to feel that pressure a bit higher. The second pressure comes from team members on your management team. So whether you're the executive director or but also you might be HR director or marketing director or programs and services director. This team of people that manage the organization also have an expectation from you. And the first thing is that you be an ideal team player for them. You are a colleague to the management team. Management team is your team number one, whereas the team you manage is the team you're responsible for, which is two different roles, isn't it? One is to ensure the success of the team. The other one is to contribute to the success of the team. So your team number one is your management team. So they're expecting you to act like an ideal team player. They want you to collaborate on systemic initiatives and not just work on your stuff and then bring it to the table and boast about it and not contribute to the systemic initiatives that absolutely need your attention as well. They want you to avoid protecting your turf. So it's not about pulling on your corner of things. It's also contributing to the systemic initiatives, but also sharing resources, be available for them, meet your own objectives from your department, so do your fair share, but they're also expecting you to fulfill your own responsibilities. So that's quite a pressure as well. It's coming laterally. It's not direct like the one from above and the one that's coming from underneath from your team, from the employees you manage, but it's certainly there and systematically putting pressure on you. Now let's talk about the one that's at the bottom of my diagram that I was showing you here, expectations from employees. And these are super important to consider because when we survey leaders and managers, this is where they say is the most pressure. and employees are expecting you to set clear direction and top priorities, clarify expectations and roles and responsibilities and operations and how things are done. I call that the signature approach to the organization to doing things. They want you to hold meaningful and engaging meetings. They want you to ensure their professional success as individuals, foster collaboration amongst individuals on the team you're responsible for, hold underperforming employees accountable. So do the HR part and supervise employees to perform at the same level as your talent does and make the best decisions for the organization. And obviously, regularly communicate key information so they feel they are involved and they are informed on what's going on. And that's a big lot of information and responsibility and things that you need to absolutely do, and you can't just expect it to happen without any effort. So when we come back to this piece here, saying that there's the 5 pillars would talk about bring the best out of people, bring the best out of my team, and bring the best out of my department or organization. I would estimate that this is almost 50 to 70% of your time. And this is where we see them show up. A lot of energy coming from the team you're responsible for and the employees that you accompany in their success. So we're talking about a huge load of pressure plus the one that you're putting on yourself. So when we come back to this whole diagram, we're thinking there's pressure from above, there's pressure from my colleagues on the management team, there's lots of pressure from employees and the team I'm responsible for, but I'm also there with my itty bitty shitty committee in my head that's putting all of this pressure on succeeding in my work, on maintaining work-life balance, on having a sense of competence, of confidence as well, and giving your 100%, meet expectation of others, and take care of your own mental and physical health. So when we look at all of these pressures or expectations from different very close stakeholders, including yourself, my question to you, and you might want to put answers in the chat, but which one of these is actually keeping you up at night? Which one of these is putting the most pressure on you as a manager and as a leader? I would venture that there's 2 of them that are most heavy on your conscience at night or even during the day. It's the pressure you put on yourself to perform and also what's expected. Yeah, there you go. Serena's actually talking about the expectations that you put on yourself. Then it's meeting expectations as well. So the question for you, Serena, is which one's actually keeping me up at night or keeping me late at the office? And that's also something to consider. So challenging you, all of you here, is to think about, okay, where is the pressure coming from and how can I alleviate it? So with the people we work with as managers, leaders, executive directors, CEOs, when we break down the time they spend on different tasks, once they can check off most of the management pieces, their itty bitty shitty committee quiets down. So there's a notion here that leadership is more important, but what we're seeing in the workplace is managers who actually do their management work feel less pressure when it's time to do the leadership work. And let me remind you that to us, leadership is change management. That's when people are expecting you to have your cape on, to be really clear on where we're going and bring everyone in the same direction and do it with emotional intelligence. That's why we feel it's almost impossible to be the superhero all the time. It's almost impossible to be wearing the cape all the time. So by creating this balance and redistributing our energy and our time and our tasks and checking off most of the list that's here, that's almost 100% management. It's going to create that space for you to act as a leader when leadership is needed. And when we survey employees in large, medium, and small organizations, employees seem to have the same opinion about what's expected from leaders and managers to do their job first. What is their job? Be present for employees, make sure the team's going well, make sure we're performing. And most of the tasks that they expect from their leaders, it's much less leadership work, much more management work. I find that really interesting. So what we've seen over time is that managers that really get their management work done and aligned and performing can actually do the change management piece much easier because they've contributed to the emotional bank account with the people who follow, that they're willing to do their work and lead people, not lead people and not do their work. And I think we just need to consider that in this whole refinding balance for ourselves and for others. So let's talk about that final piece, that 20%, that change management leadership piece. The real work of leaders is when it's time to really change something. The work of managers is to get the machine going and rolling and really going well. The leadership piece is bringing people to a new destination. It's creating change that will make things better. So I'm not talking about stroke of a pen change. Let's change printers in the department. I'm talking significant change that will bring improvement to our mission or the way we execute our mission, and that will bring us closer and faster to the destination in our vision statement for our strategic plan. So it's much more than just managing things. It's the other piece that we're going to add to say, let's be a good manager, but also let's lead change so we can bring people towards those improvements. And there's 3 steps here: vision, alignment, execution. And these 3 words are really, really important to remember because there's a sequence here and it's a continuum. I need to create a clear vision for the change we need in the organization, whether it's a big strategic vision or just improving something that really needs our attention because, I don't know, our culture is not really strong or our satisfaction levels are really low. It doesn't really matter as long as the vision is clear and engaging. So I'm going to say here, it needs to be clear, not cute, to make sure people get it. And for people to get what the change is going to be, then you need to go through a process. And that's the one that's hardest for me. I don't know about you, but this is my biggest challenge for myself, is I go from vision to execution. And then I wonder why things fall apart. And it's because I'm in my head and I see it and I'm all excited. It's in my iStyle on a disc model. I just want to take action and I forget that I need to get the buy-in from people for them to participate in the execution. So we need to move from vision and clarity to alignment and allocation of resources. And when we jump that step, we're actually, creating the conditions for us to fail when it comes to execution. And remember the stats, we're talking about 22 to 27% of important change initiatives that fall apart. That is basically a lack of leadership. The lack of, yes, I have a great vision, but I forgot to bring people along. And I just decided to jump into that new destination that we set out, and then I'm wondering why people aren't buying in. Well, it's because they have tons of stuff to do and they're not quite getting it what you have in your head, and they're not sure what their role is and why is this important. So we need to move from vision to alignment and allocation of resources and then execution. And when we put more energy in that second part, we jump from 22 and 27% to 70 and 75%. Then we need to move in the third part in making sure that execution, my presence, and I'm continuing to engage people throughout the whole process. So let's break this down. What is triggering my leadership? What is bringing me to have to convince, align, bring people along outside of my management role? Well, simple. We just did a new strat plan. We have a new mission. The new mission has been adopted, or a mandate for a department's been adopted by a board of directors or an exec team, and that's a trigger for change. We're going to be expecting you to put your cape on and bring people along. Same thing for a new strategic vision. That's the imperative, the new imperative of the organization, a destination within the next 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years. And that's when we're going to expect you to put your cape on, bring people along. That's the leadership piece. If there's an important failure in the effective delivery of programs and services or the effective implementation of the mission, that should trigger a change management piece and or initiative. And that's what employees are expecting from you. If you are a leader manager, your colleagues around the management table and your employees are expecting you to change things and fix it. So that's why we're going to look at these and say, can I, should I, will I put my cape on, my leadership hat on, without disrupting too much of my management piece? Can I bring people along to fix this failure? Can I bring people along to increase stakeholder satisfaction when there's been a decline, especially when it comes to client satisfaction? Will I be able to meet needs that have been identified by customers and other stakeholders? Or are we stuck in the way we do things because I'm so taxing my team and my colleagues at management that things are hard and it's difficult and it's this and that, and now I have to change things. Why are you changing things if everything's so hard? That's why you need your cape for this piece. There's a new need, we need to meet it. We need to be able to bring people along. That's a leadership piece because it's a change management piece. Same thing if the market's heading in a new direction, there might be new AI tools that show up and we need to adapt. We need to be able to bring everyone on board. Or there's a new trend that you need to be ahead of. When they hit. Those are opportunities. You need to be able to jump on those. That's when you'll unhook the cape out from the back of your office door. You'll put it on to be able to do the vision alignment execution piece, and still without disrupting the effective implementation of the mission. Now, when we do this and we think, okay, let's make a change. I'm going to put my leadership cape on, my superhero cape on, and I'm going to set aside some time, some resources for things to move along in a new direction or to fix something that really needs to change. I'm going to put my leadership cap on. I need to be able to explain why. And this is a little compliance test, if you wish, and it touches 9 very specific pieces that if you're able to check off at least 6 out of those 9, it'll be so much easier to create buy-in. So if your new vision is to be ahead of the curve on a new trend, well, I think you need to be able to say, well, it actually fits in. Let me get my marker here. It actually fits in my mission. It respects my mandate and improves the effective implementation of the mission and programs and services. Yes, it fits. My new initiative, my change management, my leadership is aligned. Or it might align with the vision. We've established a new vision statement in the organization. There's a new strategic framework or a thematic objective that was set out to meet, and we've decided to go towards that. So when I bring this new initiative, I'll be able to say it fits in my mission, it fits in my vision. More meat around that bone so people can really get their teeth into it, because it creates alignment with the reason for being of the organization. Same thing with values. We're going to change so we can continue to be either stronger or just be more true to our values, the values of the organization or the sector or the department. It doesn't really matter. We're just going to make sure that we've tested this new initiative, this new change. The reason I'm putting my leadership cape on is to be able, I'll be able to confirm it fits in the mission, it fits in the vision, it doesn't touch the values. Fine, at least I have two. The second piece is, does it help me as a leader confirm to the team that it's going to either improve and contribute to a high level of satisfaction rate of either clients or beneficiaries or key stakeholders? And if I can say, yes, it's going to help with that, I'm adding to my list that I previously checked off. Does it help to respond to more adequately to the current needs or new needs of our customers? If I check it off, it's going to help me create alignment. Cohesiveness with my messages. Same thing for trends. There's a new trend, and let's see it this way. The new trend right now is AI. I don't even think it's a trend anymore. I think it's already nice and sunken into organizations. But if someone's not using it right now, what is your reflex? Let's say I came in with a new initiative that completely ignored AI. What do you think employees and other stakeholders would say? And that's the consideration here is, okay, it's going to help with satisfaction levels. We're going to meet a new need. We're also going to be ahead of the trend when it comes to AI, for example, or any other trend on your market. If you can't justify that or explain that or create that link, you're going to really have a hard time with the second piece of vision alignment execution, because you won't be able to give it some why to it. And as we know, the why is a really powerful question when it comes to creating alignment. There's the what are we changing? Who will be involved? How will we do things, and when? We'll also need the why. Why are we doing this? Then this is why this checklist is really, really important. So you're able to say, well, it fits in satisfaction, trends, and needs. It also fits in mission, vision, values. I have enough, meat around the bone so people can dig into it as well. And then I'm going to add this third piece here. Does it help you fix, support, create, enhance the signature approach of the organization or department in its norms or standards of excellence? We're able to say that we, by doing this change or this new initiative, we'll be able to check off these. So we're transforming essential expectations into concrete processes ready to be implemented by everyone on a team. It's really, our processes are operationalized, where they're templated. Everyone can do it and does it the same way, so we meet that high level of expectations, and it's automated when we can. So this is your sandbox: mission, vision, values, satisfaction, needs, and trends, and the signature approach of the organization. So when you're in that sandbox or in that triangle, because it's not really a box, it's almost impossible for employees to say, well, why are you doing this? I'm not doing this. It just doesn't make sense. For them to say, of course it makes sense. It's because it fits in mission, vision, values, or because it's meeting trends, needs, satisfaction levels, or it's improving the way we do things. That's a big compliance test. This is really what helps us give meaning to change. So with that second piece that we tend to jump over because it's the touchy-feely, bring people on board part, it gives us everything we need to be able to hit it on the mark when it comes to creating alignment. So things to consider here is clarity on mission, vision, values. Is it, well written, clear? Everyone understands it. Everyone knows it. It's implemented into the organization. Everyone's already aligned on it. So when you do make a change, they will be able to confirm without you selling it that it fits within these three. Is your organization really in tune with their clients, not just partners and other stakeholders, but also with the beneficiaries or the clients of the organization? And when you're able to connect that, and especially when employees are able to connect satisfaction, needs, and trends of clients to the change you're bringing, that alignment piece becomes a breeze. You actually won't want to jump to execution. You will want to confirm. It'll actually validate you as a manager and a leader, saying, look at all of this alignment. We're doing this because it fits mission, vision, values, satisfaction, needs, and trends, or improving the way we do things. It's not just because I went to a conference and found this really cool author that does things differently, and this is what we're going to change in the organization, and it's going to be really cool, everyone, and they're going to be looking at you saying, well, that doesn't fit in our mission or vision or values. It seems like a whim or something that you just read the book on, so let's just apply it. We need to be able to give it meaning, and I think that this is the best way to do it. And obviously, there's needs to be some optimal conditions in the backdrop of this. And is your mission, vision, values, are they clearly documented? Or is it just something you put on a wall in your office? Or is it just something you're using for communications purposes? Those documents or those pieces of clarity, organizational clarity, need to be management driven. They need to bring people on board and be clear on expectations. So mission, vision, values should be answering these questions. What do you do? Who do you do it for? Where are you going? Vision. And why should we do it with you? Values. These are not just, cute texts that we put on a website to look good. It's actually some information that everyone on the inside, so within your stakeholder community, completely understand, completely know where we're going, and can actually repeat it, recite it as easily as you can as a manager. Also, I think there's a key component to making sure that we have as much clarity as possible on who our customers really are. They're identified, we know their specific needs, we've segmented various customers, so we are completely in tune with all of our stakeholder community. So this means customers come first. What they need, want, and the trends that will meet their market is weighted at a high level when we're making decisions. Employees that are on the front line helping these customers succeed or get what they need are the second stakeholder that should have weight in your decisions. And then all of the other stakeholders, they will be considered, but not at the same level as clients and employees. So when you've segmented customers first and other stakeholders, you're able to really get a sense of needs, satisfaction, and trends for the people you're actually serving. And when we mix all of that together, some managers have told me in the past, I feel like I'm serving employees, not clients. Yeah, because in your stakeholder matrix, employees need to see needs, trends, and satisfaction levels of clients, and they need to be able to identify them as the beneficiary of the organization. They're not the beneficiary of the organization. They're serving the organization that serves these clients. And that segment, if you're really listening to stakeholders, especially those two high-level stakeholders, they'll be able to, over time, not put their needs ahead of the client's needs. Because instinctively, intuitively, they get that. They understand the social contract, or actually the legal contract, of the employee is here to serve the organization that serves the customer. And we all have customers. What I'm saying here is you need to be clear on who they are. So be careful if you're serving the whole community or being very cute instead of clear when it comes to who you're actually serving. Also, establish a system to collect needs and concerns. You need to understand to be able to think strategically, use interviews, use evaluations, use anything that you can to get some insight on what the needs are of your clients and other stakeholders as well. Same thing for satisfaction levels. We need to be able to have all of that insight so we can bring actionable strategies to get change management. And those moments where you need your cape as a superhero leader, well, You need to be able to really have the foundations to make that very best decision. So here we're thinking of, okay, actionable strategies to create optimal conditions for change management and decision making. Well, do you have key performance indicators for the team or the department or the sector or whatever, the service that you're offering? And they need to have targets. So we need to be able to say, this is the indicator, this is what we're aiming. And once we've passed that standard, we're able to keep an eye on it, but also put energy on things that haven't met expectations yet. So when you're making a decision on change management and you're saying, well, we're going to work on programs and services, even though satisfaction levels are over our expected target, well, employees are going to be saying, our satisfaction levels are already in the green. Why aren't we addressing things that are in the red? Why are we doing this? And that's why performance indicators, they're fine, they're goals, but results are much more important. So when you can share results with the team and they can assess for themselves that we're already succeeding in some things, but not succeeding in others, when you come with a change management initiative, it'll be easy to justify and you won't need to be selling it because they'll just see it. Oh, that's in the red or that's in the yellow. We're not doing change management initiatives on the stuff that's in the green. We're just going to address things to move from red to yellow and yellow to green. It's going to create more why. So you're going to monitor and analyze satisfaction levels and performance data quarterly. And here's the challenge I'm giving you. Most of my clients have data, but they have no time in their calendar to analyze data. Spend time with it. Reflect on it. Keep it on your desk for a while. And have the opportunity with your management team or a colleague or a coach or a mentor or the board of directors. If you're all on your lonesome at the top of the hierarchy as an executive director, you need to be able to find some time and look at this data because we're going to be in a reactive mode if we don't. You also need to document essential expectations. So, operating norms, standards, employee handbooks, processes, videos sometimes, anything that can bring everyone on the same page on how you do things. And why is this an optimal condition to decision making or change management initiatives is that you won't change it if things are going well. You'll only change it if things are going badly. So you'll be able to give it more why when you say, this is how we're doing it, but the satisfaction levels are low. So let's change how we do things. It'll give it more purpose. I think you also need, as an executive director or a leader or a manager, a decision-making matrix or worksheet. So you are able to do the compliance test, do what triggered these changes, look at your data, being able to link between key performance indicators, results, and the change management you want to bring upon the team or upon the organization. And you'll be able to have that time with data, other information, and just make a decision that's clear. So when you start writing that vision down, you'll be able to feed it with all of the supporting material that you need. And I think you need to regularly assess the current state of the organization. And I'm not talking about writing a nice little yearly report for the board of directors or yearly report for the AGM or something that you want to communicate in your social media as your year-end results. I want you to go much further than that in saying, I'm going to assess the current state of the organization when it comes to mission, vision, values, me meeting expectations from clients, and evaluating how we do things to see if things are going well. And it seems like a lot of work, but in the end, when you're looking at these pillars or you look at these strategies, and can you imagine making decisions on large, important change management or leadership initiatives without doing this first, I don't think it's even possible to actually call it leadership if you can't anchor it into we're here to fix something or make things better or meet this new ambition that we've created, and we have the vehicle to get to that vision. So all of this information, mastering what the market is, understanding clients, making sure our robust vehicle can get us to destination is something that's going to be supporting your change management initiatives. So giving you success in your leadership role in that 20%. So I'm going to leave you with just a bit of information here so you can create maybe a bit of awareness around where am I spending my time? Or am I spending enough time in management? Or when I'm doing my leadership work, am I giving my whole 20%, that whole 1 day a week on the change management initiatives, or do my change management initiatives go to the side when there's a rush on the team or there's a lot of work all of a sudden? How are, is how is all of this going? So what about you in all this? Well, I think you're a manager first. To meet my responsibilities and obligations is the very best way to reduce the stress that's linked to the stuff that only you can do and leave all of that nice, beautiful, stress-free place for you to do your leadership work. I also want you to think that as we do, especially for those executive directors and VPs in the room, maybe we know that my organization's success or my department's success is my success. So when I look at my data, reporting on my data, whether it's my part of the dashboard in a large organization or my whole dashboard as an executive director, that's my scorecard. So me working on making sure management is going well in every single aspect of management in the organization, not only finance, but not only marketing either, and not only services, but membership services too. Everything is going well. That means I'm succeeding. I also need to generate energy and not consume it. So this is a question I have for you, and it's one I've been struggling with the past few months. So I'm full vulnerable here, is saying that this is a hard one. When I show up at work as a leader manager, am I consuming energy from my team or am I generating energy from my team? Am I draining their batteries with all sorts of changes all the time because I want to be a superhero leader all the time? Or am I supporting them in their success in my management role, knowing that if they succeed, the team succeeds. If the team succeeds, the department usually meets the goals. And when that happens, I also have a successful practice as a manager leader. Also, my professional and personal balance depends on the investment in both of those areas. And that's coming out in research more and more. Work-life balance is not about spending 8 hours or less at work and 8 hours or less at home or more at home. It's really about, am I putting as much energy and succeeding in my work so I have a sense of accomplishment and I feel good about what I do, and that is separate from feeling good about who I am and the roles I play outside of work. So are you investing as much time in your health, your family, your community, and everything that brings you joy outside of work, and spending as much energy on succeeding when you're at work? Because if work-life balance is just about time, we haven't cracked the code yet. Because tons of people are working 8 hours a week, but still burnt out. Why is that so? Because I think there's a difference between investing in doing a good, strong 7 to 8 hours every day and then going home, sitting on the couch and watching TV. You need to invest as much in that personal life as you do in that professional life. And that's the balance people are looking for. And in the end, you need to make sure you're aligned. Is that mission, is that something you believe in? The vision, the values of the organization? Are you organized to be able to create that space between work, life, leadership, management, taking care of employees, as much as the team, as much as the department, as much as my management team? Am I organized in all of this so I can actually get things done? Have I made a list of everything I must do every day, every week, every quarter, every month, every quarter, every year, so I can be disciplined and getting that stress out of the way by just doing what's expected of me? And we all know, we've all heard this expression that discipline is the ultimate act of self-care. It's an interesting concept that if I can get the things done that I'm responsible and that's expected of me of being done, I'm going to feel better about myself. I'm going to be less stressed. So if I'm aligned on mission, vision, values, and what I said I would do, I am organized in my time, in my space, uh, in my life, and I'm disciplined in getting things done for myself in my personal life, for my title in my professional life, there should be some space there. There should be some space there. Um, so what do you do to regain balance is, you stay active, but not hyperactive. And I think that what I want to bring here is the notion that, yes, of course, uh, your your health is important. Everything follows, everything flows when health thrives. So it needs to be on your radar. Measuring performance to truly find your direction. We've talked about that enough. Focus on results more than goals. I think, and tons of research are coming out on that right now, is the fact that when we focus on results and we actually share them with the team, the same way a hockey team can see the scoreboard during the whole game, we need to be more mindful of sharing results um, with our team in an ongoing way so they're aware that they're succeeding or not, so they can be fully committed to making things better. But I want to come back to staying active because I created this little diagram, and hopefully it speaks to you. But um, we've heard a lot of people put a lot of value on being reactive and put a lot of value on being proactive. And I think that's a continuum. And the word we tend to neglect between reactive and proactive is being active, toning things down, knowing that if I bring my staff to being active and delivering quality services time after time with great standards of excellence and norms, and monitor performance measures as much as performance results, um, you know, measure and monitor customer satisfaction, supervise staff, foster collaboration, have an effective meeting structure. This is just day-to-day stuff. And if we do it well, it's going to take 80% of our energy and our time, and we need to spend 80% of our time there. And it's going to reduce stress levels. And we all know that a lot of new employees on the market are here to not live to work. They want to be able to just live. So they're going to go and look for that environment where they can have as less stress as possible and being able to have a great life outside of work as well. So are we able, in the same way when we work with emergency services across the country, they seem to tell us time after time that they're never in a reactive mode. They're definitely in an active mode, even though the stakes are really high. So what seems like an emergency to us, frontline workers, they see it as active work. They're always ready. They've done the scenarios. They've practiced. They know the process. They respect it time after time, and they're not in a high level of stress, even though they're called upon in an emergency situation. Same thing for accidents and unexpected events. We need to be able to go there when needed, and that shouldn't be all the time, especially if we do some risk management piece. And also go there, be reactive when there's trends are changing or opportunities are showing up, but you're not moving there to live there. You're just able to be to go there because your stress level is filling up your emotional bank account in the one of your team, and you're able to go there when needed, but not validate the team in living there, because we're just creating all of this stress that people just want to set aside. And I encourage you to do the same. And we're gonna do the same with the proactive piece, especially in nonprofit sector, government sector, and so on. I think that we need to think of innovation as a tool, especially when there's an issue with, performance and customer satisfaction. We need to be able to proactively do some planning, risk management, research and development when we have the resources to do it, perform evaluation on programs and services, and do change management when needed. But it's certainly not living there. We need to be able to bring our staff to live there. And if we hit 80% results, that's more than good enough. Knowing that if we have all of this energy, because if this is the stress tank, this is the energy tank. Well, there's less energy here if we're living there. But look at all of the energy that's available here to go there when needed and being able to come back. So in my planning, I'm going to be bringing stuff back to the active mode. And we're creating this agility for the team to focus on making sure that the car is running well and bringing us to destination, but being able to react when needed because we just have all of this extra energy to do so. That's just my little diagram. I hope it's useful for you. I'm going to share these in the follow-up email. I just want to I'm looking at the time. It's 2 o'clock already. I've been going on and on. Here are the next free trainings that are available on the Discus website. If you can help us share this, if you find it useful with your colleagues or your network, it would really be appreciated. We do a French version of every single webinar that we do, and we also have an English version. We've only been doing this for a year and a half now in English, so we need some help to get some traction. They'll always be free. It's non-solicitous. We're not doing this to sell. We're just doing this to contribute to the success of our network of clients and community. The next ones are the essential practice of managers in a unionized environment, and the change management and the link between emotional intelligence and change management. So those dates are there. You'll be able to register on our website at discus.com. We also hold governance training for people on your board of directors or maybe executive directors that want to know more about governance. The next one is the 5 Habits of a Responsible Board. We'll be doing this with our favorite lawyer, Pamela Taylor, will be with us, giving us a hand with this. And the role of the board in keeping an eye on performance when it comes to the organization. So I want to thank everyone for your time today. All of this is recorded. It'll be available on the website. And I'm asking you in the chat if you have a moment to sum up this session in one word, and I hope to see you next time. If you have any questions, go ahead. You can put them in the chat. I am just going to stop the recording, and you'll be getting a follow-up email within the next 48 hours. Thanks, everyone. Hope it was useful for you.